Boker Tov, good morning. We continue with our 3-minute daily dose of Torah. Today, looking at a pasuk in Parshat Re'eh, which says as follows: Ki yarchiv Adonai Elohecha et gevulcha kasher diber lach. When God your Lord expands your borders as He has spoken to you, ve'amarta ochla basar, and you will say, I will eat meat. Ki taveh nafshecha lachol basar, because you desire to eat meat. B'chol avat nafshecha tochal basar. According to all of your desire of your soul, you may eat meat. So the simple context is that the Torah is making clear that even if you're far away from the places where sacrifice would be allowed, specifically the Mishkan or the Beis Hamikdash, maybe a discussion about Bamot for another discussion, when or not you could bring certain sacrifices in your own on your own shrines. That was a previous discussion in the parasha. But here we have this phrase that arises twice that says, so apparently you're distant from the Beis Hamikdash, you're distant from the Mishkan that is standing at the time, and you want to eat meat because you have a hunger for meat. So the Torah says you're allowed to eat meat. That's what the Torah says. What we refer to as basar chulin, non-sacrificial meat. What an interesting phrase that's used here. In fact, the sages in Masechet Chulin, Tractate Chulin, discuss this term, and they refer to basar taiva, basar ta'ava, desire flesh, which really means, what if a person just hungers for meat and doesn't want to bring a sacrifice? And so, interestingly, there's a machloket between Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Yishmael about what were things like in the Midbar, in the wilderness. Not that I imagine they had much meat to go around, right? We don't think they have many animals to be sacrificing. But if you had an animal you want to sacrifice, were you permitted, clarify, if you had an animal that you wanted to slaughter and eat, was it required that be a sacrificial act? Or could it just be a stam act, a regular act of, I'm hungry, I want to make a barbecue, I'm not bringing God into it, I'll make brachos, but I'm not offering this in some way to God? Rabbi Ishmael said, no, it wasn't permitted in the wilderness. And there's a concession that's being made here when we enter Eretz Yisrael to allow for it. Rabbi Akiva says, no, the Torah never forbade it. He reads his verse differently, and the implications of the verse differently. But basar taiva was always permitted. What an interesting reflection we should have about when we are just interested in making ourselves happy and feel good. Must we always channel it through some ritual experience? So the conclusion is, no, we don't have to. That's the heter, that's the permission that the Torah gives by saying in Eretz Yisrael. No, but in some level, in the wilderness where we were close in, and the Mikdash is right there, there's a certain type of judgment statement that's being made according to Ishmael. If you're going to eat meat, somehow dedicate it to God. Somehow dedicate it to God. We know that we do dedicate it in some way, at least by choosing to recognize that this is coming from God. So even if I'm not going to make it a sacrifice, if I affirm that it's from God, aka making a bracha beforehand, so that might already be a framing that we might wrap our heads around. But think about this question about whether or not the things that can bring us pleasure, should they be channeled into a religious, virtuous statement, or can they just exist on their own? That kind of hovers around this very topic. Wishing you a great day. Have a great day.